Hello, this is Tom Cloud with this week's Precious Metals Market Update. Several things to report that are really crazy. Here we are almost through a third of the year, and the stock market's up 5.9% after a 300-point move the last couple of days. Is now up 5.9%. Gold is up 9.1 and silver's up 8.9, and you would think gold and silver had gone in the tank and was a terrible investment. Meanwhile, in the United States, as I talk to some of the wholesalers that I deal with for years and years, we're all reporting that the first quarter that was down for volume, as much as 35% with some wholesalers, and certainly our business, as well as friends of ours, also have seen their volume drop off, which when you look at figures and know what I know from 41 years of doing this, it's crazy because in Southeast Asia, Singapore in particular, we can't keep inventory. It gets completely bought, including central banks. And in the United States, we have the lowest premiums, the best deal on gold and silver that you can possibly buy. And yet Americans continue to think the stock market, number one, is doing a lot better than gold and silver, which is exactly the opposite. And number two, that the euphoria of the stock market going up for 2 or 3 days is going to continue. Now let's look at that. There's nothing wrong with stocks. I own them. I'll continue to own them. But to put all your eggs in one basket is absolutely crazy. When you sit there and look at a stock market that is selling at 30 times earnings when the historical norm is 15, you've got to say this is crazy. Now, certainly, if the tax cuts come through corporately and individually, those earnings will change, and you can verify a higher number on the ratio, but not 29 or 30. So we know at some point it'll come crumbling down, and it could be soon, it could be a few months, or it could be a year. I don't know. But my warning here today is not don't buy stocks, not at all. It's to use someone that's professional, but you're not in a buy and hold mode for stocks. But let me assure you, at some point, and it could be very soon, you're going to see the physical gold and silver dry up in the US just like it has in Singapore and Switzerland. And it's unbelievable. And central banks are buying, and yet we're over here thinking, what do we know they don't know? It's the opposite. What do they know that we don't know? Let's talk about that for a minute. What's going on in North Korea? Are we out of the woods? Could North Korea still try to shoot a missile? If so, how will we react? Will we end up in a war with them? Certainly is possible. What's going on in Syria? Same situation. Could we end up in a war with Russia, but in Syria? And how about could Israel be invaded? And then we look at the French election and the runoffs. Marie Le Pen lost to the socialist who wants to keep in France a member of the European Union and keep using the euro, while others are saying Le Pen could easily make up until the election May the 7th. If Le Pen wins, which she's not favored to do, then it could be like a Trump, and you could see gold jump literally $100, $200, even $300 an ounce because she wants to leave the European Union and she wants to go back to the French franc currency where they have their own currency in the world and get out of all this other craziness. So while the odds favor Le Pen losing, I wouldn't bet all my eggs that that's going to happen. There could be a mad rush at the end for Le Pen to come up and win, just like Trump did in the last 2 weeks before his election with Hillary Clinton. So don't be assured that's going to happen by any means. And then look at the potential gold-backed currency that is in every high point. Every money manager I'm talking to that's outside the U.S. believes that China and Russia will have a currency backed by gold, at least 50% gold, and not the too distant future, what currency are you going to put your money in? You're not going to leave it in dollars when you've got a currency that's going to quit fiat currency and back your money. You've got to go buy the gold currency. And this makes the dollar fall, which makes gold explode. Remember, historically, 1% down the US dollar, 11% up in gold. So just think about that for a minute. So we think it's an excellent time to buy gold and silver for that matter. But as you've seen, silver's up 15%. Now it's only up 8.9% for the year. Still way ahead of the stock market, but it has given up a lot of its gains, worried about economic problems. So if you have a self-directed IRA in gold and silver, you can own it that way. Give us a call. We'll help you. We can be your representative. We can be your broker and help you get the low fees that we have compared to the telemarketers that you see advertising. You can reach us at 800-247-2812. That's 800-247-2812. And if you're still holding rare coins, we still think you should be in bullion coins, and you're going to see a lot higher appreciation as for 17 years, rare coins have not even doubled, while gold's gone from 256 to 1250, over 5 times. So anyway, hopefully we'll have more information and an update on the SWIFT system, where we think China and Russia will leave the U.S. SWIFT system, which will be another devastating blow to the dollar in not too distant future. With this week's Precious Metals Market Update, this is Tom Cloud signing out.